Right, so throughout history, his story, right, there's always been inaccuracy based on the perception posing the narrative, right? So, how do you know that history or, the depiction of spirituality or certain characters or prophecy or whatever is actually fucking accurate, people? So yeah, you're thinking like this schizo lad, right? First of all, schizophrenia is a concept that represents a very complex phenomenon that is closely related to spiritual experience. For if somebody fucking hallucinates Jesus, right? That's everybody's gonna say like they've been blessed, like. But if somebody fucking hallucinates like Heath Ledger's Joker's character telling him like you need to start causing trouble. Like, well, the schizophrenic and the Jesus experience is like fucking is all right. I'm not so sure. So, like Jordan Peterson said, right? When you take like psychedelics or have any kind of spiritual hallucinatory experience, it's realer than you think. And I very much resonate with the idea that he said, don't assume that you are competent to actually like navigate that realm. And you might be thinking, a lot of people think like, we're experienced psychonauts, like we'll take fucking 600 seeds of datura and like 7 tabs of acid. And, you're going to end up with like some sort of trouble that you might not be able to deal with. Because to be honest, it's not even about the dosage. If reality thinks like, this person, they need to be fucking, and all these like, right, all these entities, right, I'm babbling here a bit, but Tulla right, associated with Datura experiences. She has a fucking dog, I can't remember the name. Why are people seeing this dog and this like trickster woman? Because it's probably a fucking dimension that exists. I truly believe that it's a dimension that people attain through taking that poisonous plant, the delirium plant, Datura, right? And when it comes to these, like, powerful entities and like spiritual fucking characters, right? People have this delusional fucking idea that they're all like dead reasonable and like, we'll look after you. No, they're off their head. Like, they're off their head. And you ought to ask yourself why. Like, when it comes to duality in reality, right? Fucking hell, like, things have to happen. Like, the spectrum of experience demands that there has to be powerful entities that represent certain sides of nature and consciousness. So you're looking at me and you might be thinking like, he fucking whatever, like, all right, we believe you, like, you're Lucifer. Like, I don't associate myself with, definitely don't associate myself with fucking Satan. So you better not be calling me that. You know what I mean? Because all these, like, my name is Nadanian, right? Used to be Aiden, but I'm fucking naming myself, right? My name's Nadanian. Nadanian Coalcat. Why is it Nadanian Coalcat? Nadanian is a derivative of the name Aiden and Nadia, which is like Aiden backwards. And Coalcat, I wasn't thinking cool cat, but I now realise that it sounds like that. But I had a cat called Paddy, right? And out of all the characters that I've ever met, Paddy is one of my favourites, right? And I'm from Wigan, so my, fucking ancestors from Wigan were coal miners. They worked laborious fucking horrible conditions with child labour going on. If you read the book Road to Wigan Pier by George Orwell, then you'll fucking know what I'm talking about. Like, they worked under horrendous conditions every day. They would have to crouch walk miles to get to where the fucking, like, job is. There was gas accumulating, there was cave-ins. They would work day in, day out on shit food. for fuck all money, right? Cool cat. So my black cat, right, that ran off after we moved house and immediately went on holiday, and this fucking woman obviously was hired to look after him, didn't do her job properly. You know, Paddy was one of my favourite characters, and, you know, I'm choosing to be transparent here. Now, I don't necessarily want any fucking, like, people to be harassing my parents, but to be honest with you, I learned more from the fucking cats than my mum and dad in terms of, like, what to be in terms of nature. Because a lot of the humans that I've been around, if anything, I've learned what not to be from them, because there's so much toxicity in this world, and it comes from a lack of fucking evolution. What are people doing on a daily basis? They're not asking the right fucking questions. They're not going on, like, spiritual journeys and thinking, like, you know, who am I? What fucking drives me? They're thinking, like, well, we better go to college and then learn something that's already been fucking learned. You understand? Like, we've got the BMW, we've made it. That is all here for fun. And it means nothing in the end of it. So when I was 16, and they were telling me, you know, you've got to pick your subjects, like fucking blah, blah, blah. I already had fucking had enough of it by the time I was about 12. Well, I was thinking, like, this is just shit, this. Like, what the fuck is this? You know, better get hit by this bus to save us the trouble. Whoa. Like, what was I talking about? I don't even know. Right, school, yeah. First of all, right, I'm not saying that everything that goes on in school is bad, because it's not. You learn some valuable things, and you learn how to socialise and all that shit, right? It's not all bad. The point is, as far as I can make out, what becomes of most people's lives when they tread that trodden path of education and then fall into some shit job, even if they get what they want, like, in society, where does it actually lead after that? You end up going in a loop just to earn money. What the fuck's all that about? That's not even a bittersweet symphony, that's just bitter. I want nothing to do with it. Right, I'll give you some context here, right? I've fucked everything off, and I'm skint half the time, right? But at least I'm growing, and that's enough for me, right? That cig that I've just had, right? Do you want this lighter for a cig? Like, you know, I don't. So I'm homeless at the minute, right? I don't fucking beg. I don't want to do that. You know, can you spare us some change? Like, I can't be fucking arsed with that. You know. So, what am I talking about here? I tell you what, right? If you actually want to become something, and I'm not saying that I'm some sort of definitive example that you should take inspiration. This is a word. A wise word, and I don't have any trouble saying it. Why don't you start making serious sacrifices in your life? Because that's the currency, people. It's not fucking cash. Trust me, if you pay attention, you start sacrificing things. Like, and I'm not talking about a fucking child, a lamb, a fucking animal. I mean self-sacrifice. Anything. Do something, and the reality goes, this guy, this girl, whatever, she means business, he means business. You know what I mean? And stuff will start attracting for you to develop. If you don't do that, it won't happen. And your subconscious mind, if you don't, will be screaming at you until you do. And unfortunately, some people never do. Now, me, right, I've been going in this loop that forever, just tugging on the strings that are baggage that I'm logging and all that, because my fucking journey is quite a tall order, to be honest with you, and I have a subconscious fear about letting go. Nevertheless, here I am, and I'm still fucking at it. I tell you what, right, I have been wanting to go on this journey properly for fucking 5 years. And you might say, well, why haven't you let go? Like, we fucking... If you've been paying attention and you believe anything that I'm saying, you might want to fucking consider what it is that I have to do. I know what it is, roughly. And because I'm fucking, Aidan Watts, or I'm Nadanian really, but, Aidan likes to what? As in, Aidan likes to ask fucking questions. If you ask too many questions, that sort of fear, that, idea, the hesitation that comes from, the idea of what stimulus is going to be like, especially pain, it's the same sort of thing as, the hesitation that you get at before jumping out of a fucking helicopter for the first time, but on another fucking level. So, you want to judge me for not jumping. I have jumped, but you have to fucking keep going. You have to keep going. I tell you what, the amount of pain and fucking sacrifice that certain journeys demand is absolutely terrifying. And if you fucking say, some people judge, right? You might say, oh, the Antichrist, you're giving Jesus some rubbish. I'll tell you what, I actually respect Jesus to a certain degree. I don't respect turning the other cheek in a completely, whole sense of every single situation, right? Because I've tried it, right? And I don't like the word try, but I have tried it. And if you do that, you are trying. Now, I'm not saying that you should fucking knife everybody's jugular in that ever does anything. No, it's relative. But if you turn the other cheek in every single fucking combat situation, you're gonna die. And so are your loved ones. So, right, I respect Jesus for the bravery, right? He walked a walk, but he fucked it up. That's what my message is. Now, if you think that you're right, so I've got a sort of similar path, right? I'd argue it's fucking harder. A lot harder. And you're thinking all right, well, you're probably going to fuck it up. Yeah, but what if, right, this is the point, right? I don't judge Jesus because he fucking walked it. So anybody with spiritual responsibility, Buddha, Jesus, or anybody like that, if you're fucking sat there watching Tipping Point and judging people have actually had the courage to do something about, very pressing matters in reality, what the fuck have you got to say? And yeah, you might end up twisted. You might end up completely fucking insane off it. But you, sitting there in your fucking comfort, right? You're the fucking nuts one. You're pathetic. And if you want to do that and you're not judging people, fine, I don't give a shit. You can do what you want. But I swear to fucking God, if you're sat there judging people that have actually had the courage to fucking walk some kind of walk and you've done nothing of the sort, I tell you what, you're going to get a rude awakening, pal. Just like we all do. What do you people think this is? Amateur hour. It's about evolution and ability and strength and love, trust, respect, virtue, and completely, and then if you fucking just well, just get the job at the Netto, and then you fucking get some short shit attraction, or some deity, screaming at you to fucking evolve after you leave this shithole. What then, pal? Like, you know what I mean? You're wasting life. And this anger, right, mostly comes from myself because I'm sick of my own hesitation. I'm sick of my own procrastination. But nevertheless, I'm not even talking to me because I'm out here fucking doing something, at the very least. So I respect myself for that. Anybody else? Fucking shut up. All right. Anyway, end of that. What did you have for tea?